Hi, Mary Scifres for Mary Scifres Ministries here to talk with you about worship themes and ideas for Lent 2019. These worship themes and ideas are what inspired Dave Sigmund, BJ Bew, and I as we wrote the words for worship, the sermon starters, and the creative worship ideas included in your worship resources for this season. And our theme for Lent 2019 is a simple one: invited. Invited to, you fill in the blank each week, and we give you at least 2 different suggestions each week. Beginning on Ash Wednesday, we encourage you to be invited to return home or invited to a fresh start. Return home based on the Joel passage, the fresh start based on Psalm 51. That first Sunday of Lent, we hope that you'll give a journey theme to the day: invited to wander, or invited into the wilderness, using the Luke passage or the Deuteronomy passage, or both. And the second Sunday of Lent, Dave Sigmund couldn't resist. With Luke 13 and Jesus being so cheeky, we called it invited to bring it. If you want something more traditional, you can use that same passage along with, we're encouraging you to use Psalm 91, invited to be held. And then in the third Sunday of Lent, invited to the feast with Isaiah 55 promising a feast abundant of God's love and providence. Or invited to bear fruit based on that continuation in Luke 13 and the difficult, challenging invitation Jesus gives to all disciples to bear fruit even after times of death and despair. By fourth Sunday of Lent, we're into one of our favorite passages, the prodigal son in Luke 15. Invited to return home if you want to base it on the son's perspective, or invited to welcome home if you want to base it on dad's perspective. If that passage isn't speaking to you, we also included that amazing passage from the 2 Corinthians, invited to be a new creation. By the fifth Sunday of Lent, we want to encourage you to go invited to extravagant love, based on John 12, or invited to joy in the wilderness, from Isaiah 43 and Psalm 126. And then it's Palm Sunday. For Palm Sunday, we're encouraging you to use invited to shout out. If you prefer to celebrate that day as Passion Sunday, how about invited to the cross as you help people take that journey in preparation for Holy Week? If you're doing Holy Thursday, invited to serve based on the John passage, or invited to remember if you're basing your service on Holy Communion and the 1 Corinthians passage. On Good Friday, invited to follow to the end, or invited to take a stand, depending on which part of John 18 and 19 you want to use. And then Easter Sunday, finishing out the theme, invited to be amazed, or invited to new beginnings. And then Easter Sunday begins a new season. But for Lent, we hope you'll go with this journeying idea of inviting people into the Lenten journey and welcoming them as they come back to church. We've seen an increasing number of people who visit churches before Easter, and we thought an invitation theme would be the perfect thing to welcome them as they arrive. Each week, as always, can completely stand alone or be a continuation from the week before, leading you forward through the journey of Easter. We do want to remind you that people who attend worship only once a month consider themselves to be regular worshipers. So even if you're doing a whole series, make certain you design your sermons, design your service, so that even those once a month attenders feel truly invited and welcomed. This year, we're also suggesting a theme song from the Fray, a beautiful rendition of Be Still and Know. You'll find lots of creative ideas as well as great words for worship and sermon starting ideas in your resource materials available now from Mary Scifres Ministries. Looking forward to praying for you as we do each and every week and hearing about the amazing worship services you create for Lent 2019.